Hey y'all, and welcome to the Max Life. I've got my jacket on because I'm about to head outside and pick some spinach. You guys know that everything we try to put on our table, we grow here on the homestead. So today I have made us some lunch using, this is round steak that I have in here. That was from one of our cows. Now, I am going to do some macaroni and cheese. These are non-GMO organic bulk noodles, but I'm going to be making my own cheese sauce using my cheese. If you guys missed my how to make cheese video, you guys please be sure to go check that out. It is a very simple recipe, and I use raw milk. I have been told you can use regular milk. I've never done it before. I'm just telling you that I use my own raw milk and made that block of cheese, which I'm going to be shredding into the macaroni here in just a few minutes. In the oven is a couple of batches of sweet potatoes. So I have sweet potatoes going in there as well as some cookies. I'm making cookies. There is one batch that is already ready, y'all. Right here, I'm going to be transferring those over to cool in just a minute. I also have, this is a can of squash that have lots of squash. Not everybody likes squash and not everybody likes spinach. So I'm gonna do a little bit of both batches. So I'm about to head out right now and pick some spinach. But before I do, there was one other thing I wanted to show y'all and talk to y'all about, because a lot of y'all are here to learn. You're really looking forward. So it is almost February. We're like days away from February now, and a lot of you guys are wanting to learn from this channel. So I also, besides the cheese, how to can, I already have a whole series on how to can butter. I have a how to can chicken. I think I have a how-to on squash too. If I don't, it is very, very easy to do. I know I have a how to can crunchy pickles. So there are so many videos that you guys can already go back and watch that I've already done. This is another one. So yes, you see that I have sweet potato slips already in a jar. Now here is the deal with the sweet potato slips. You guys saw me put sweet potatoes in the oven, or you saw me open the oven and show you the sweet potatoes. Here is one that is literally right beside me, and I saved this to show you guys. So when I dig up my sweet potatoes, cure them out, here's the thing, and I don't want to do a whole nother video on sweet potatoes because I already have that. You guys please check that out if you're interested in learning sweet potatoes. Not only is the potato edible, but the leaves are edible too and very good for you. But when I dig my sweet potatoes up, cure them out, they like to grow when it's hot. They like to cure out when it's hot. Regular potatoes are the complete opposite. You plant them when they're cold. They like to cure out in a cold place. So just remember, everything about a sweet potato is hot. They grow when it's hot. They like to cure out in warm, moist environments. Same thing with the regular potato. You plant them when it's cold, and they like to cure out in cool, dark places. So they're the complete opposite. But this is what I wanted to show you. So I saved this little guy to show you this. Once your sweet potatoes are dug up, completely cured out, several months after, they will start putting off this. This is a beautiful sweet potato slip. Now the one beside it is a little too small. I'm going to leave that. But this one is a perfect size. It's almost the length of my hand, but it is the perfect size to take and drop down into some water. Now in a couple of days, these things will start rooting very, very quickly. In just a couple of days, I will have roots already starting on this. And I usually wait until it's a pretty good root system. Now, it is not time to plant sweet potatoes, so why am I doing this right now? Well, this is why. I will get a big pot, take those slips and plant them down in that big pot and leave them in my greenhouse. Come April, when the frost is gone, I will take all of those slips that I have put out in the greenhouse and start putting them all around in my beds. Raised beds, in ground, wherever I can find a place for sweet potato slips. Now here's the thing. They're not going to actually start growing very well until the end of May ish in our area. So they like really, really warm temperatures. But as long as there's no frost, they're gonna take the warm days that they have, because we're way down in the south. So for all of you guys that are in zone 8B, you can take your sweet potato slips as long as there is no threat of frost and go ahead and put them in the ground. They're gonna slow grow. So what I mean by that is they're not gonna take off. You're gonna walk out there and you're gonna be like, oh, they're not really doing anything. And that's because it's not really the environment for it yet, but they will start growing some. You're giving them already that head start to get used to where they're at. Their roots are gonna start taken to the ground, but they're just not gonna take off until it gets really, really warm, which I actually like to grow that way, and I will tell you why in just a minute. Okay, y'all, I had to dig around for a spatula. This is not my favorite spatula, but I can't find my other one, and I need to move my cookies over, so I'm gonna talk to y'all while I'm doing that. And this is why I like to plant my sweet potatoes earlier and let them go ahead and spend their 120 days in the ground sooner. Now, like I said, I don't really start counting. I really don't count May a lot because they're not doing a lot of growing in May. They really need about 120 days of really hot weather. And if it is not really hot, you can't really count it, but they will go ahead and get established, which is a great upstart, I guess you could say, jump start. Here's the thing though, by the time Mississippi cold comes here, you don't ever know if it is gonna literally be like winter in October or like summer, because our weather is so sporadic. It literally is summer one day and winter the next. The thing with the sweet potato leaves is they cannot, again, we're going back to the frost, they cannot handle the frost. So if I plant them and we have one frost that comes, I might have to dig them up before they get that full 120 days. You should be able to do that, but I like to just go ahead and plant pretty much all summer if at all possible, starting out with the ones that I start inside, like what I'm doing right now, which will transfer over to the greenhouse. And once I put them in the ground, I'm able to pretty much all season go ahead and plant. And then when I'm ready to start digging up sweet potatoes, I go to the first batches that I start digging those up, start curing those out, and then I move on as I go. So it's kind of like a progressional thing. And then that way, at least I know that if I started some early, that before the cold can even think about getting here, I have sweet potatoes. If the cold comes, it's not that big of a deal. If it does drop down and your leaves get burned, you just got to dig them. You've got to dig them up before that black, before the rot, like within a day or so, can get down to your potato, because they say that the black will go ahead and rot your potato, like if it's connected. So you at least have to just get the vines and stuff off. Now, I will tell you from experience, I have accidentally left sweet potatoes in the ground in multiple spots, and those suckers have lasted through the winter. And as long as they're deep and buried under the ground and they start growing, putting off vines, which connect in the ground, put off roots, and make more sweet potatoes, really it is a beautiful thing, because they require such little care. And especially if you have the climate to grow sweet potatoes, please don't take this the wrong way. And if you eat them, you're really an idiot for not growing them, because they are just that easy. The biggest issue that I have found with growing sweet potatoes is keeping deer and rabbit and stuff like that out of your sweet potatoes. I've also found that using raised beds are really, really easy, because if you have even the slightest area that holds water and you try to plant your potatoes there, it never turns out well because they do like moisture, but they do not like to sit in water. So if you have a higher spot or raised beds, water them well. Pretty much once your roots gets established, y'all, I'm hands off. Unless we have a drought, I really don't have to water them. I don't have to tie them up. I don't have to baby them. They don't need extra fertilizer. Like, they are so easy to do. And once you start growing your sweet potatoes and the variety that does well for your area, and you learn how to properly cure them, you bring them in, they sit on the shelf, and then they keep giving all over again. It is such a beautiful cycle. And you will find yourself never having to buy sweet potatoes ever again. Y'all, check out my other video. I just kind of give y'all some highlights, enough to get started, but I give y'all a lot of details and why I don't put my sweet potatoes in water. I have seen some people take jars, put their potatoes in water. I go through all of that with y'all and why I choose not to do that. But I just wanted to show y'all, because this is a channel where we're trying to teach you the things that we do to make you more self-sufficient. This is just a glimpse of one of my sweet potato racks. And if you thought that was all, you would be wrong. Here is another rack down here. So as you can see, we have very well mastered sweet potatoes. This year, this was about our average size. For comparison, if you guys want to see that, we did have lots like this, which we love to either cube or slice and drop those down in some lard with lots of seasoning. Very, very good. So just to show you one of the things that we start really, really early, which is very different from what most people do, but I'm going to tell you it has worked for us. When I get ready to take those sweet potato slips from out of the greenhouse, I will just transplant them right into the ground, make sure that they're well watered if they need any water, just for the couple of days until they're well established, and then I'm really hands off. Absolutely love to grow sweet potatoes. It is one of my favorite things to do because I like the things that don't require a lot of time, because my time is so tied up doing so many other things, that the things that I can literally put in the ground and be hands off with is the absolute best way to grow. I'm going to come out and go ahead and grab some spinach. Spinach is also one of those leafy greens that I feel like is extremely hardy, or I know for us it is very hardy here. I've never had a problem growing spinach. I did, unfortunately, my spinach still looks great. I have a couple of different varieties here growing. My lettuce, y'all, after the snow, I come back out here and uncovered it, and I have the sloppy. I mean, you can pretty much see where it looks like it's been in the freezer. I was very bummed about that. My cabbage still looks good. It is not terribly cold out here right now. It's a little cool. And last night was not under freezing, so I left everything uncovered. But I am pretty bummed out about this set of spinach because I was working really, really hard. And some of it looks like it's still going to be okay. There's some patches of it that looks okay. It looks like this side was maybe the hardest hit. I don't know if I just didn't have enough over that side or what. But I still have lettuce doing fine. My lettuce in the greenhouse is okay. So I'm a little bummed out about this. And if y'all have seen the plastic that is over there on those greenhouses, and if it gets really, really windy, like really, really windy, which I didn't think it got that windy, but apparently it did. And one of the places that plastic was screwed on the very back got ripped off, and it left a huge gap in there. I know I lost my purple basil, I lost my regular basil, and the tomato. So I had a huge tomato plant in there, and likely would have been perfectly fine if the wind would have not pulled that back and let tons of cold air in. I'm talking like 10 degrees. I was a little shocked. I thought that my citrus fruits were probably gonna die too, but they are actually, right now, they look okay. I know my tomato is not gonna survive it. My basil, I had a couple of tall ones and a little one right behind it. My little one still looks okay, but I went ahead and cut back the basil that the cold killed, and then my purple basil for sure is gone. And Spike is gonna turn over the camera. Are you gonna turn over the camera? Spike was rubbing on y'all, trying to turn y'all over. Okay, so I'm gonna get some spinach and go ahead and take that inside and get it washed, and we're gonna saute it in some butter, put a little bit of salt on it, and y'all, it's got that nutty, almost, Spike, quit. It's got that nutty, oh, it's just such a good flavor. Absolutely. I'm obsessed with this spinach that I'm growing. This spinach comes from Survival Garden Seeds, and it is absolutely fantastic. It is another one of those really, really easy grows as well. And I know y'all have seen me out here picking a lot from this bed. That's because we've been eating off of this bed a lot. All the way from the lettuce to the spinach. I have actually had y'all out here with me multiple times while I've been out here collecting and taking this food inside to eat. It is absolutely the best way. If you're wanting to take control of your health, this is the way to do it. You put a raised bed in the ground, you get some very affordable seed. We use Survival Garden Seeds. I have found to be very reasonable, dependable seeds, and y'all, all the instructions on the back of the seed packets tell you exactly what to do to keep your seed, and that is like a huge ordeal, because when you learn how to seed keep, then you're not constantly dependent on that. Now, sometimes things happen. I'm guilty of that. I had left a spot in the garden for peas, and went back out there and got my peas, brought them out of just absolutely habit. I had dropped them down in a Ziploc bag because that was the only thing I had on hand right at the moment, and went inside, and out of habit I accidentally zipped it up and set it in the corner. I would never do that. You're not supposed to, because I was trapping moisture in there. I usually will take it and either dump it in a brown paper sack or something like that. I did not have any on hand, so I thought, well, I'll just either get a piece of wax paper or computer paper or something like that and pour it out later. Well, when I went back in there later, my peas were already ruined. So sometimes you just, accidents, mistakes happen, you know, whatever, and you need to buy some seeds, and we have found ourselves in that situation. But I do keep about 50 to 70% of my own seed.